What's really good, my people? Welcome into No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Little. Big Nick the Quick with me as always. We're a day late, but we're recapping week 3. Chicago Bears went down to Kansas City, took a 41-10 L, about as bad as you can get. But what else did you expect? Do you think those boys are about to go down there and compete with Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and the Kansas City Chiefs? Never, ever was going to happen. We'll go through the details. Is this as bad as it gets? That's going to be my first question to Big Nick the Quick. No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. Let's break down this 0-3 Chicago Bears team.
Now look at Mossy. Really? Oh, so that's how you gonna play it. You gonna do this? Okay, fine. That's all I needed. That's all I needed for him to do that. And it became personal with me.
Big Nick the Quick, what's happening?
How we feeling?
Man, I'm good.
Bear down.
Let's talk about these Chicago Bears. Poverty franchise across the board. I said it on the after the week 2 vlog. If you haven't gone check that out, went down to Tampa, checked out the game, and we had some fun. It was a miserable loss, but we had some fun. So go check that out on the No Catch Up YouTube page if you haven't already. Big Nick the Quick. I mean, what else did we think was going to happen, right? I don't think anybody was shocked by this final score of 41-10. It was really 41-3, if we're really being honest. And I laid it out as Kansas City takes pity on the Bears. That's like what happened. They could have hung up 50 plus 60 maybe, easy. They pull Mahomes. They just go ahead and cruise to a W. Gabbert turns it over 2 times when he comes in, throws 2 picks. Shout out Jack Sanborn. That may be one of my best players on the squad. But Big Nick the Quick, is this as bad as it is? Is this as bad as it gets? I want you to pull what are the worst parts of this team? Like, we know about Justin Fields. We know about Luke Getsy. We know about Eberflus. 13 in a row. If you go back to last year in losses, what is the worst part of this team? And then tell me how you felt about the game, and then we'll get into it.
I mean, I don't know where you begin with the worst parts. It's probably harder to find the easiest part or the best part of this team because I can't point towards one positive of this football club. If you saw on the sometimes, they give their grades after every game. They gave an F for every single position on the Bears, and that's kind of how I feel. The worst part is, look, man, I think I didn't expect them to win this game. I don't think we had any delusions of them going in there and winning or even really being competitive, or not, I shouldn't say being competitive, but having a chance to win, right? But what you don't expect to see is a team that looks like they quit. I mean, quitting in week 3 to me in the NFL in a 17-game season where technically everybody is still in it is crazy to me. And if you look at just some of the time that Fields had to throw, some of the ease at which they were able to do things, they're walking into the end zone. It was eerily not as bad, obviously, as what happened in Miami with the Broncos, but it's the same type shit, man. You're letting guys walk in. You're putting no pressure on the quarterback. They literally let Patrick Mahomes have 6, 7, 8, 9 seconds to sit back there and decide to do whatever he wanted to do. So it was an easy day of work for the Chiefs. Man, the worst part of this team right now, I think, is just the overall effort. There's no effort, right? Like I was listening to Rex Ryan yesterday, and he was talking. He's like, the Bears used to suck, but you would expect that they'd come out, play hard, at least play defense. You know what I mean? And you and I hated that shit because, like, hey, we want to win games, right? Like, nobody wants a try-hard club. But now that I have a club that doesn't try hard and just kind of goes out there and it just seems like they're going through the motions, like, it's depressing, man. The whole thing is bad, man. They look down on the sidelines. Fields clearly isn't confident. The defense isn't giving forth any effort. The offensive line is porous. There's multiple guys out. I don't know what's going on over there. I don't know what's going on with the Nate Davis situation. I understand he had a death in the family, which caused him to miss last week, but why is he dressed and not playing this weekend? Right? Like, to me, that's fishy. Obviously you have the situation with Allen Williams, all types of wild shit just coming out and flying all over the place. No one really knows what's going on with that. You have the Field situation this week as far as did he or did he not throw his coaches under the bus? So it's just a toxic situation, man. And the Bears they're a laughingstock, right? And I think even through all these lean years that we've had, there's only a couple times that I could point at the Bears and be like, yeah, they're a laughingstock. One was year 2 of Mark Trestman. I think there was some Nagy laughing stock creeping in there as far as Mitch turning off TVs and whatnot. But this is week 3. Again, we're in week 3. Like, I can't even fathom that this team has 14 more games to play. Like, it's crazy to me. That's how checked out they seemed. That's how checked out I am on it. And it's almost also $100,000 worth of equipment was stolen randomly too. Did you see that story?
Yeah,
it's
just
just it was just like one of those things where like what else could go wrong? I wouldn't even have reported that. If I was the Bears, I would be like, we're not even going to report this because this has just been the week from hell and we don't really need any more negative publicity. So it's hard to tell you what the worst part of this team is, man, because there's nothing good. There's literally nothing good. I can't point to any player. I can't point to any position grouping. I can't point to a single play. I can't point towards anything that tells me there's upside or that this is going to get better. So I don't really know what to tell you. I have no answer for you as far as what's the worst part of this team. Everybody.
Yeah, the best part about the Bears season so far is that the Carolina Panthers are also losing with us. I tweeted that out. We have their first round pick. They are also 0-3. They continue to lose while we continue to lose, and we have a real possibility of having 2 top 5 picks. Now,
draft 2 quarterbacks.
just
make sure you get it right.
Yo, that's actually.
Hey, listen. What if Paige just came out and was like, look, man, we have never had a quarterback here. I'm gonna draft 2, so we're gonna figure out who's right.
Look. Let's take I think his name is Caleb Williams and then May from North Carolina. Yeah. Yep. Give them both run and then and then just trade the other one after.
Alternate every week who gets to start. By the end of the week, whoever has the best sample is the starter the next year. Let's go.
That's so funny. And then
you're guaranteed to get a quarterback. Would you burn an extra first round pick if it meant that you had a franchise quarterback?
Of course. What?
If I told you got to burn 2 top 5s to get a franchise quarterback, you're doing that all day, right?
Is it
yeah. So
yeah, of course,
go for it.
Like if you had a surefire franchise quarterback, you would trade 8 first round picks.
Yeah, and if they're both good, you can trade one of them and you can recoup some of that value. I actually think it's a good plan.
That's actually pretty funny. I never even thought about
taking
that.
Taking 2 QBs.
It's too bad of a look though when you have as many holes as they do.
You know what's a bad look? What's going on the last 3 weeks of the Chicago Bears season? Like, what are we talking about here? Like, if we're being honest, what are we talking about? They shouldn't do anything that starts with it might be a bad look because everything you're doing is a bad look right now.
The thing about the quitting part is, like we said, I absolutely know. Not one iota thought that we were going to go down to Kansas City and get a win. I laid the 12.5, made the L feel a lot better. So I didn't think we'd compete. I thought it'd be a two touchdown game at the very least. But yeah, there is just no like there's people that even in the real world you could tell are just collecting checks, 9-to-5ers, just pulling up, collecting checks, going home. Yep. Then there's other organizations and companies where like people actually like working there, like the people they're working for, want to make a difference. Nobody on this roster, from what I could tell, wants to make a difference at all. And that comes down to Eberflus and the rest of his staff. I would where are you at on firing people in the middle of the season?
And again, I'm going to shoot myself in the foot because I said you can't do things based on bad looks. But to me, the only issue that I'd have with that is you essentially gave him. You can't blame him almost for last year because you told them like we're not trying to win, right? So you gave him a roster he could not win with.
Yeah,
so it's kind of hard to count those losses. But the flip side is, again, we have 14 games left, and it looks like your football team has quit on you. And that's an issue. Like, I don't understand how you can go through the next 4 or 5 months with it like this. But I also don't see how it turns around. Like, there's nothing to inspire these guys to play better. Where am I with firing him right now?
No, I was going to say, or do you just bury him, let them lose out? This is like one of the things where, is it a situation where Poles and Kevin, the new president, get in the room?
We got to get Kevin's last name, man. I don't know his last name either.
Hold on. Yeah. Isn't it Warren?
No, it's better if it's just Kevin. Just let him be Kevin, bro.
Is it even Kevin?
might be Keith.
It's Kevin Warren, man.
All right, shout out.
I knew that was what it was. I was you made me second guess myself when you said I knew it was Kevin Warren. I just was on some casual.
Yeah, shout out Kevin.
Do Ryan Poles and Kevin Warren get in the room like, hey, look, and this Poles talking to Kevin like, hey man, I fucked up on this hire.
No. I think Poles are talking to Kevin like, hey man, keep me around, because I have a part in this as well. So like, yeah, I mean, maybe he did. The thing with Eberflus,
hold on, let me finish.
But he kind of has to admit, coming to him hand in hand.
I'm coming to Kevin Warren hand in hand.
Yeah.
Hey man, I fucked this hire up.
I fucked this up royally.
Ryan Poles doesn't even know who Justin Fields is. Who is that? I don't know. That's just a guy that was here when I got here. I don't even know that.
Team when I showed up.
I don't know who that dude is. So what I'm getting at is, do they get in the room and like, hey, look, Kevin, I fucked up the coaching hire, but let's bury this season. We'll have a top 5 pick, another top 5 pick in Kevin's new, I guess, full second year. They could then reset the quarterback, reset the entire coaching staff, and then go from there.
Sure. I mean, yeah, I guess you could. It's just
because
so early. It's so early. Right? It's so early to white flag. It's just so early to white flag.
It's not early to white flag.
It is early to white flag. As an organization, you can't sit up there and white flag in week 3. We can, and we can tell you what we're seeing, but like Ryan Poles can't go in there and be like, essentially go in there in week 4 and be like, hey, yeah, this is over with. Like, that's tough. That's a tough sell when there's that much of the season left. Like football, you know that they're not trained to think that way. They break the season up into 4s and hey, this is the first quarter, but now we're going to go to the second quarter of the season. How can we improve on that and build on the third quarter? They're over here talking about, Justin Fields is over here talking about the Lions were 1-6 last year and they almost made the playoffs. Like, that is the mentality that they're supposed to have. So I think it's going to be hard for him to go in there and be like, yeah, let's just scrap this whole situation and just, start planning for next year. Because you just did that. This was next year. So it's like, hey, what, we going to trust you again to run another scrap situation? Because this one is over in fucking September? Like, you misread it that bad? I don't know. I think that's what's so crazy about this situation.
They hired Kevin Warren on January 12th and then Poles 2 weeks after that. So
I thought Warren came after.
That's what I
thought Warren just came. I thought he just came last year. They just hired him.
Oh yeah, you're right. I'm tweaking. It was the year before. Yeah.
Yeah, they just hired him.
Yeah, so I guess that's what I'm getting at, right? Is that he kind of comes in to his boss essentially and says, yo, I smoked this. That's actually another interesting thing. The president didn't hire the GM when the GM picked the coach.
That's what I'm saying. So he might not be able to go to him like that. He doesn't have that type of cachet. We're not in this together.
I knew, I guess it's
He'd go to Ted Phillips with that. But Ted's like, hey, look, man, I'm working on stadiums. I'm out of that side now. So
yeah, man, that's the thing. The Chicago Bears are in a situation where the president didn't pick the GM. The GM picked a defensive coach, a middling defensive coach that philosophies aren't working.
I don't remember those great Colts defenses.
And they're playing a quarterback. The coach is playing a quarterback he didn't pick. Mm-hmm. Let me repeat that again. The president of the Chicago Bears, Kevin Warren, didn't hire the GM in Ryan Poles, who picked a coach who is a middling defensive coordinator for the Colts, who never had a lights out defense.
No one had ever
heard and now that philosophy is not working. And the coach is playing a quarterback he didn't decide to pick. That is the perfect dysfunctional set of situations you can ever hear of.
Yeah, absolutely.
No one hired any of their guys, and then the one guy that did hire their guy is not very good in Eberflus.
Yeah, so no one's locked in. No one's in this together. No one came in together. No one sat down and planned out what this was going to be and what it was going to look like. And again, this isn't unique to the Bears, right? There are several situations across the NFL that are like that. Mike McDaniel, singular. I'm sorry, was it Black Mike? Black Mike didn't select Tua, right? And the GM, I think the GM was already there. He didn't come in. He didn't come in with Black Mike either. But this is not the situation in the Bears, right? The Bears, it's just, I don't know, man. Again, it's week 3, and they are rudderless with it's nothing where it's like, man, if we just get, like you were talking about the Bengals, right? And the Bengals, it's like, all right, cool. Like if we can get this right, if we can get this right, if we can get this right, like there is a path to being competitive. With the Bears, it's just not there. Like, and it's week 3. It's early. It's already been a shitstorm. Last week was crazy, right? I forgot they cut their backup quarterback in the middle of the week too. Just like random shit was happening all week. All the stories are bad. Nothing positive, right? And it's the 3rd week of the season. And I couldn't picture a scenario where it's went bad this quickly. So yeah, it's rock bottom, man. Like you asked it, I know we opened it up. That was the question. Like it is to me, rock bottom. I can't see it getting any worse. You're playing against a Denver team this week that's going to be very motivated because they just lost by 50 points. They're garbage too, but I don't even think we're beating them. It's just all bad, man. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Justin Fields, I want to talk about a couple things on just his gameplay. Because I rewatched I was traveling this weekend. I had to rewatch the game this morning. And I'm already on my second cup of coffee.
I tried to rewatch it and I had to turn it off. That's all everything I need to see.
It's what's going on around him via Getsy and the play calling and the offensive line. There's a lot of issues. There's a lot of issues across the board on both of them. But there still aren't enough flashes for me. You feel me, Nick?
From him?
Yes, from him.
Oh, yeah.
There's still not enough, like, man, if and when something is called right and something is there, he's flashing.
Yeah.
It's not flashing.
Who did he miss down the left side? He missed someone down the left side for something that should have been a 25, 30-yard completion.
Another piece, when he drops back in the pocket and there actually is protection, he's not stepping up more times than not. He's always fading away, Nick.
Yeah.
And I think that probably has something to do with just being ingrained where he's always running for his life. So he's trying to fade so he can get outside and use his athleticism to run around. But there's a lot of, if you go back and look at this Kansas City game, there was 4 or 5 times where he could have stepped up in the pocket and got another read. Because what happens, Nick, if you get to the top of your drop on progression number 1 and it's not there, you step up and get to 2. And then you see 3 a lot more clearly than if at the top of your drop, 1's not there and you continue to fade. I mean, if you go back and look at some of these throws from Justin and you can look at Kansas City, you can look at Tampa, and you can look at Green Bay in week 1. He's making some of these throws 13, 14 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Not 4 or 5. So that's a big thing that it's maybe a lot of people are throwing around the word ruined, like, we ruined him. There's a lot of things that fundamentally could help in that aspect as well. Another thing that would help if you stepped up in the pocket is throwing the ball over the middle. Justin Fields does not throw the ball between the hash marks whatsoever.
Yeah.
So that's another massive issue for Justin Fields. And if you go back, and I don't want to compare him to Tua or Kansas City, but if you see and watch Kansas City and Miami on a week-to-week basis, they pick up chunks in the middle of the field. When Dak is playing his best game, he's going to CD in the middle of the field. So if you can't or are afraid or don't want to, or there's no opportunity for you to pick up chunks in the middle of the field, it's a massive issue. So those are the 2 big things for Justin Fields that just aren't coming to fruition. Now, I will say this. I saw a clip. First of all, it's everybody's favorite thing in the world to watch Justin Fields all 22 and just destroy it. That's like the new. That's the fun thing to do on Twitter.
Isn't that what you're doing with JT O'Sullivan?
He's the best in the business at it, by the way. So if you want to go watch a dude break it down all 22, go watch.
Make sure you reserve a good quarter of your day to get through one of his videos.
But I guess what I'm getting at is there was a play that it wasn't JT O'Sullivan, it was some other guy on Twitter. They didn't hit. There was a 2 slant, 1 shallow, 1 a little deeper cross. He came off. Justin Fields came off the first slant, didn't hit DJ Moore on the second, but then rolled out and hit Claypool on like a 14-yard pickup on the sideline for a first down.
That was the first play of the game.
Yeah, it was when he was in the end zone rolling out to the right. This dude's nitpicking Justin for not hitting DJ Moore in the second. I'm like, look, bro, you can't nitpick every single thing. I just saw him pick up 14 yards. So like,
yeah, but that's what happens but you know how it goes. That's like,
but that's wrong though.
Trademark of when you're in the shit is where everything you do, every little thing you do is gonna be criticized and nitpicked. Especially when it's like some people, think he put himself front and center this week by being critical of the coaching staff, which again, but let's talk about that real quick. For one, I didn't take it as criticism of the coaching staff. I was surprised at the amount of people that did, as far as national media guys and stuff like that. Because to me, what he was, and it didn't come out right, but to me, what he was saying is coaching, right? It doesn't matter who's coaching. He's not calling it bad coaching. He's not saying it's coaching he doesn't want, but it's just that is what's creeped into his mental and causing him to overthink. So I don't think he's not like, these coaches are stupid and they're getting in my head and they're fucking me up. I think he's just saying I'm overthinking based on coaching, right? The question was, what is causing you to overthink? And he said coaching. Not it's bad, not I hate Getsy, not I don't like Flus. It's just coaching. I'm in my own head. And if you watch him play, it's clear that that's the case, man. Like last year, he was getting into this rushes so fast. As far as like if it wasn't there, instinctually he was just taking off. Whereas this year, he's trying to force it in there, and then he's running into the pass rush. That's the biggest difference. Even on his runs this week, last week, he's running into the pass rush. Whereas last year, he was able to find these little seams and just turn upfield. So it is like he's thinking too much. It is like it's the coaching. And again, that's not anti-coach. No coach is going to not coach you, right? So he's not criticizing what they're doing. He's criticizing his own handling of it. He's criticizing his own processing of it. When you talk about how he's running backwards 14 yards, that is trying to make something happen. That is a dedication to throwing the ball. I'm going to go so far back so I can survey the entire field. And if something's there, I'm going to find it because that's what I'm supposed to do instead of just going out there and playing. So we've talked about that. I mean, that's the issue with Fields. I don't give a fuck if he throws the ball or not, right? If running is what got it done for you last year, if running is what got us 30 points in certain games last year, obviously I wanted to throw the ball, but I wanted to play his game, and he's just not doing that at all. At this point, like do something that's going to put together some success for you as an offense.
I will say this.
You got to see the ball go. You got to see the ball go in the net.
I agree with you that he's not playing his game. He's overthinking, and he's just out there really trying to make things happen. And that might be from in the room with Getsy trying to explain like, hey, this is what you need to do. Forget about trying to run and make shit happen. I want you to try to get through your progressions and make shit happen, whatever. Overthinking. That said, I don't want my quarterback running after one progression. Because that's what you're talking about. That's what he was doing. That's where he was making an impact. He was looking up. Nothing was there. He was out of there. That's not in
You don't want him doing it at all? Because he's not doing it at all now.
Yeah. I mean, that's just not going to be long-term successfully long-term in the NFL. So that's like where.
But don't you think you can use that to open up other things? Again, like when I talk about the ball, seeing the ball go through the net, it's just like sometimes you got to do something that makes you successful. Pick up 15 yards on a run and see what else it opens up. I'm not talking about every single time tuck and run. I'm not talking about the Milrow. So my boy on Alabama, if he doesn't see a half a progression, he's gone. But not like that. But man, like just get back to doing you. I don't need him to have 16, 17 carries, but pick up some chunk yardage on one so you can just feel good about yourself. So you can get some flow, so you can get some momentum. And that's not there. That's my point.
Yeah.
I don't want him to be an option quarterback. I don't need Crouch, but come on.
Shout out Eric Crouch.
Shout out Eric Crouch, Heisman winner. The Rams drafted him too. He got a little receiver. He got some receivers looking St. Louis. Shout out Eric Crouch. Shout out Tommy Frazier.
I'll say this.
Shut up.
Justin, I deep down in my soul, man, if Justin had the same opportunity and trajectory and talent that Jalen Hurts had, I really think he could look like that. Rewind 2 years ago when Jalen Hurts, they said, hey, we're going to go with this guy. He's going to be the starting quarterback. He wasn't very good that first year. He came in the next year. Sirianni had a great plan. They had a great offensive line, if not the best offensive line in the NFL. That offense wasn't tons of shotgun, 7-step drop, but it was plenty of rollout, play action, and just that offense opened up a lot of things for Jalen Hurts to have a straight 5, 6, 7-step drop back where he could get some things done. I truly believe that the situation is working really, 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 really hard against Justin Fields, his development, and his talent. But the situation is we don't have the talent that Philly has. We don't have.
That's the question. Where are we? Yeah. So where is it? Yeah.
Philly has. So
because you said,
what do you do? Like I said, I'm on record before the season last year that he needs to play as many snaps and as many games as possible. And I'm still giving him the full 17 this year to see what happens. And then, listen, it's just such a frustrating situation, Nick, because you know what happens? Like in our perfect world, since we're going to have control over him anyway, he comes back next year and tries to get something done under an entire new staff, right? Jesus. With another, or is that too?
That's not our perfect world. Our perfect world is if it doesn't. I think should we talk about when do you move off a quarterback? I don't know. If it looks like this for 17 games, it's hard to trot him out there again next year, regardless of what's around him. Like if it looks like this for the rest of the season, you can't. It's over with. You got to move on. Fan base won't have it. Nobody. You're not going to be on board with it. We won't be. There's no way you could watch this 14 more times and be like, yeah, you know what, man, let's put a little bit more around him and see what happens. Because again, if it was there, you would see parts of it. You just said that.
The flash thing is, yeah, it's true.
The only flashes we've seen were last year when he was playing freely. But again, to your point, that's not necessarily the flashes you want to see from your starting quarterback overall, right? So, yeah, I think if it continues to look this way and there's not better play, like if we want to talk about what were our expectations for this weekend, I expect him to ball this weekend. Like I did, right? Like win, lose, whatever was going to happen. Like I just expected him to come out and be loose. And that wasn't the case. He threw 99 yards passing. 15 of them were on the first play from the game.
Yeah.
So after that, it was completely,
Let me ask you this,
completely dead. Also, real quick, get Chase Claypool off my roster. Doesn't try. Doesn't fight for catches. Puts forth zero effort. He's just out there running around. I don't care what you wasted on him. Like that's the type of guy where if he's on the team, it's hard to kind of tell guys to go out there and hustle because he just doesn't.
Yeah, and
also on Sunday he should have brought in that ball. You got to fight for those. You understand what I'm saying? Like it's clear. You and I, we know when people aren't fighting for shit. It's clear. It's obvious. You know what the try hard guys look like, man. You know the guys who are out there leaving it all on the table. And on the other side, you know the guys who aren't. And I look at Claypool, and it's like this guy, the week one thing was inexcusable. There's no reason you ever show up to a season and don't play hard in the first game. I don't care what's going on. Right? And then what I saw last week, as far as just not fighting for catches, you have one good catch to start the game, and then you're non-existent the rest of the game. Get that guy off the roster, man. What are you getting by having him out there anyways? Make an example of him. Hey, Chase, man, thanks. Here's your check. Go wherever it is that you want. Go Fashion Week in Paris, whatever it is you want to do, man. We're good.
If Justin Fields is going to go down at the end of the year, like you mentioned, go down playing your game.
Yep.
I think that's like a life lesson. Yep. Even it's like life lesson, sports betting. Go down with your pick. Don't go down with somebody else's pick, or don't go down with someone else's opinion. And I know that's what we do. We're in the opinion business, but you have to feel comfortable with how you're playing and how you're going to go down. And Justin's going to have to, like you mentioned, play his game before it all packs up. Lastly, before we get out of here, Nick, is it a possibility that the roster low-key doesn't believe in Justin Fields. So that's also a reason why it looks like folks don't care. Folks aren't trying. Folks are punting on games in the first quarter and in game 3 of the season. That has not been reported or talked about, but is there a space where that could also be the case? Like the coaching staff the coaching staff isn't very good. The quarterback isn't very good. So we're cooked.
I just feel like, that happens. You see that happen when you have a really good defense and a shitty offense. Like that's where we're at with the Jets. You know what I mean? But no one on this Bears team, no unit or anything is able to point the finger at anybody else and be like, yeah, they suck, so we're just not going to try. Right? It's not like we have some really good defense who's going out there playing lights out and, just to sit there and watch a 3-and-out and be right back on the field. Like the defense playing like trash, the offense is playing like trash, the special teams are playing like trash. So that's why it's so shocking to see them all quit. Because it's not like you have a unit that's out there flying around, putting it on the line for nothing. None of them are getting it done. And again, we're talking about we hired a defensive-minded head coach. The defense has been awful for 2 seasons now that he's been here. Awful. It's not a bad defense. It's not an improving defense. It's an awful defense. It has been bad. I think they said the Bears have allowed 25 or more points for like 12 or 13 or 14 straight games, something like that. So no one's in a position to say, hey, I'm just not going to do this anymore because the other guys aren't going as hard. They're all bad. It's all bad. But what do you expect when you come into a year and say, hey, we don't want to prioritize the pass rush? We're going to sign an edge rusher 2 weeks before camp is over. Ngake, oh, he's just there. Hey, but come on, man. Because otherwise, if he wasn't there, you wouldn't have had an edge rusher. That's how you want to play D. When we talk about all the time, what do we say? Quarterback, left tackle, cornerback, edge rusher. What are we talking about here?
Quarterback, offensive mind in the building. Then
that's
edge
it.
Rusher, left tackle, corner.
Shanahan's been winning games like this for years.
Yeah, it's true.
These are the priority positions, and you don't really have anything at any of them. Right? You don't.
Nick, how many?
Braxton Jones sucks. Larry Bourne sucks.
I will say this. TJ Edwards was all over the place yesterday.
Yeah,
he was playing hard.
Yeah, he was playing his ass off.
He was playing his ass off. You want to talk about a guy that was playing? He was playing his ass off.
He was playing his ass off.
So shout out TJ Edwards for hustling and doing his thing.
Get Tev Jenkins back out there, man. We need some personality.
Yeah, it's all bad right now in Chicago. We'll see how the rest of this shakes. We are back at home. The Chicago Bears play the Denver Broncos, who are also 0-3 and have tons of pressure coming from their fan base and their front office. So that's going to be a very interesting game as well. If I had to pick, I'm taking the Broncos, and I would lay.
Yeah. What is it? 3.5?
3. Yeah, it opened at 3, went to 3.5, went down to 2.5.
In Denver?
No, it's in Chicago.
Oh, it's in Chicago.
It's in Chicago, yeah. So it's at 3, and we'll see how it shakes. But yeah, it's all bad in Chicago. No catch-up sports talk via Chicago. Stay with us. We're gonna do a little Tuesday.
So they got the Broncos essentially touchdown better than the Bears.
Yeah,
and they're coming off a 50-point loss.
They
just lost by 50, and the Bears are essentially getting a touchdown at home.
If you account for 3 points for being at home, yeah, they got them like almost a full score, and almost a full score, 6 points better than the Chicago Bears, which is pretty hilarious.
That's hilarious.
No catch-up sports talk via Chicago. Bears dropped to 0-3, 41-10, which was really 41-3 because that garbage time TD doesn't count in the real world of competition football. And the Kansas City Chiefs took pity on the Bears. They could have hung 60 on them. No problem. We'll see y'all next week.